January.
A new year.
A new start.
Welcome to commUNITY.
Well, it didn't wrap up the way we wanted it to, but the Bills certainly had a memorable season for a number of reasons.
And one of those reasons, Damar Hamlin, you see him outside of City Hall on one of the banners. This is an individual who really proved to all of us that humanity, people still do care. This video of Damar Hamlin getting his hair done, courtesy of his Buffalo barber, Kenny Harris. They met during Hamlin's rookie season.
We kind of had a kind of bond because we both went to Pitt, you know, hail to Pitt.
How did he find out about you and when you all made that connection that you both went to Pitt?
One of my other barbers just met him he met him at the mall. I was like, come on by the shop, you know, and he ended up coming by the shop. And he's been here since. You know, he gets his hair dreaded on top, he gets a fade on the side, you know, and he gets a peak in the back, a point in the back.
He calls him a trendsetter.
He actually comes to my house and get haircuts, you know, and he likes to go out and hang out with the neighbors, you know, play with the kids. You know, he's just a good guy, you know.
He's come to this shop too,
Yeah,
right?
he comes to the shop all the time.
Personable.
He's just a good guy. He's just a good kid, you know. He works hard. He's a hard worker. He overcame a lot, you know.
Hamlin has experienced family woes, heartbreak, losing friends, but he had determination thanks to his family.
He loved his parents.
That's
yeah.
right. Talk about that. That's important.
Like I know he talks, he says his mom is always in the stadium, his dad is on him all the time, you know. And just like how any parent would be, you know, on your kid, just wanting them to succeed and be successful.
It's important.
He talks about family. He talks about building up the community. Damar Hamlin, he represents Buffalo. He's going to keep pushing. He's going to keep fighting.
During his rookie season, Hamlin let us understand him.
I'm in a blessed position that I know a lot of people will want to be in. So I cherished it, and it just running out on that field. That's when it like first hit me that, you know, I'm here, and it's just time to work.
But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, you know, some people are gonna be changed forever, you know, after being on the field and witnessing that and feeling those emotions.
There was no way in hell that we were ready to go out there and play a game.
But the job description of a coach is not just coaching X's and O's, and it's much more than that.
Our training staff, for going out there, not knowing what's going on, but going through a checklist, working as a single cell symbiote, like saving his life, you know, and is being on that field. You lose sleep, you hurt for your brother.
I'm gonna always be here. I'm gonna be a brother to him. I'm gonna be a friend to him, a friend to his parents, or anything that they need from me, I'm here for them for sure, 100%.
Hey, 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 let's go Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. Hey, 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 let's go Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. Hey, 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 let's go Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. Hey, 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 franchise QB, what's that? That's Josh Allen, 17, yeah, we back. Speaking of 17, no more drought. Yeah, the Buffalo Bills make you want to shout. Trade day, making plays. That's John Murphy on the radio waves. Deion Dawkins like a high all day. Bill collectors, all they do is take away. Kaya, Elam, Sherman, Emmons, Gabe Davis. Mitch Moore, Spencer Brown, Ryan Bates. Give it to Devin, we could run all day, yeah. Deion Dawkins, get defenders out the way. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go, Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go, Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go, Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Bills. When I say Bills, y'all say Mafia. Bills, Mafia, Bills, Mafia. Go Bills. Go!
Success in Me.
Success in Me education program founders Sam Hill and Phil Davis.
What Success in Me really is a collective of different courses. So the first course that we kind of included in Success in Me is our entrepreneurship course. So some of the other courses that we'll be rolling out later, you know, personal development, sales skills.
Students participated in pitch programs to present their business.
One had a bakery that's focused on Black It's called The Black Bakery. He's an athlete, so he created a podcast that kind of brings the athletes to recruiters. They built their own websites, designed their own logos, designed their own pitch deck to actually pitch.
And we're teaching them different success skills that they can better themselves and their family. We're looking at creating courses, but also different events to engage that core population.
These men also created How I Came Up.
We were probably considered poor at the time, but we were very rich in many other ways. Because I grew up in a predominantly white community.
We want to be able to let folks know these people didn't just get here by circumstance. Everybody went through something to get there.
When I first started DJing, I used to visualize myself in front of this fake imaginary crowd.
Everybody has a story.
What it's like to rock a crowd, but the ultimate is like kind of when you just sit there and you like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
What's your story?
Oh, wow. Over 20 years ago, I was a part-time housekeeper at Sisters Hospital. Now I lead large teams. I've done international assignments and projects, and so anyone and everyone can do it.
Coming up on Community, beating the blizzard by sticking together. Welcome back to Community. Well, the blizzard of 2022 certainly left many memories. It also left many people stranded. In fact, nearly 50 people died.
And there were a lot of people doing some good things even after the blizzard. Our Alexandra Rios Malvia explains.
Mark Johnson is up at 5 in the morning and at it until 11:30 at night.
Hello, how are you?
Making deliveries,
So I have your...
deliveries of kindness.
Helping is just kind of like what I like to do.
He's making sure no one goes hungry,
non-perishables,
cold, or stuck in their house in the wake of the storm.
Now that I have the time and like, I just decided, well, I can shut my business down and help everybody else, you know, like rather than trying to collect retail. I don't know, I just saw it and this whole thing kind of changed my heart where it's like, I understand I'm a businessman, but at the same time, it's like I'm a person.
Mark reached out on a Facebook group page called Buffalo Blizzard 2022. He was able to connect with those in the hardest hit communities.
Same thing with this house right here. They're from Thailand. They don't know anybody here. You know, like they don't have a huge community where they can go out and say, hey, well, what are they saying? Because I don't know what they're saying. So like we had a language barrier, even just trying to communicate on Facebook.
With the help of his friends, Mark has been able to help 200 families on a daily basis.
That's pretty much how it goes. Every single person, they have a different need. And even though the snow's melting, it's like people still didn't get paid.
And he is doing all of this to honor his late friend, who he lost just before the storm.
It's helping me heal, if that makes sense. Since I lost my friend, this is honestly like, it's exposing a lot of good in people. You know, like showing, hey, well, you know what? You don't have to be cold-hearted because these are the people who need your warm heart.
His heart that has now touched the lives of hundreds.
Buffalo, we're not a heartless city. Like you hear everything that's happening and everybody's like, oh, it's so dangerous. It's like, no, we're not dead. Our heart's just frozen. It's not dead. It's just cold. You know, so like when it warms up, when everybody starts loving again, you start to see that heart pump. You know, it thaws out. And honestly, that's what's happening with our city right now. It's thawing out.
Checking your finances is something we should all do. KeyBank's 2023 Financial Mobility Survey shows more people facing financial challenges and now taking a closer look at their financial picture. There's a high priority on cutting back and spending more time budgeting. After all, interest rates are climbing, so are credit card payments.
It's getting more expensive to, buy or finance cars, mortgages, things of that nature. But also in comparison to prior years, consumers generally aren't sitting on as much money as they had been. Last year, when folks were prioritizing leisure activities and spending time with family and friends above career and making money, we're now seeing a flip of that year over year, where now we're seeing more people put a higher emphasis on earning money because now they realize that the financial road ahead is going to be a little tougher. Historically, we would have all thought of things like vacations as a want and not necessarily a need. But I think with the underlying theme here of people feeling overwhelmed and stressed out about their financial situation, I think you're actually going to see vacations and leisure activities still remain a need instead of a want.
His advice: find a trusted banker to help you manage your money, avoid unnecessary fees, save for the future, borrow with the best terms.
Optimizing the way you pay for things. I mean, let's face it, Claudine, everybody has to pay for things.
It's amazing because we can do everything from home here. And I think about the guys that were brewing on this property 100 years ago.
Breathing new life into a bit of Buffalo history.
Currently, we've turned on phase one, which is a 2,600 square foot renovation of a 1973 circa building to house a 10-barrel production brewery.
John Domrays Jr. is inching closer to his ultimate dream, reactivating this entire facility. Sitting on Fillmore Avenue around the corner from the Broadway Market, the Schreiber Brewery was a mainstay in this neighborhood from the time it opened in 1899. 2 years ago, Domrays Buffalo Brewing Company bought it and all the lore it holds, from the wide-open packaging floor to the former offices, right up to the old tasting room, which was once adorned with beautiful murals depicting the history of brewing.
I am a history junkie, so this is like the greatest piece of brewerania you could have, is an old brewery. Unfortunately, a lot of these got torn down. So to have something like this with the mural room and the actual murals intact, even though we don't own them, and to have the same address and to use the same water line that the brewery used, it's all kind of like a history junkie's dream, honestly.
John plans to reinstall copies of the original murals, which are currently on display in his Myrtle Street location. He wants to put in a production facility, a tasting room, a restaurant, and even a brewseum. And he's also excited to resurrect the Schreiber brand.
To recreate the artwork on top of it and re-release the beers that made the brewery famous, I guess, would be the icing on the cake.
Right now, the $750,000 phase one is complete as a transitional brewing facility is producing and canning beers such as the original Schreiber Manru Lager and Ale, complete with the old label artwork. Plans are for a big brewery in this larger room when the building is complete and turn the current brewery into a packaging hall.
It's incredibly gratifying, first of all. I'm very humbled to follow in Anthony Schreiber's footsteps. He was a pillar of the Polish community, a great philanthropist, and I think a really great man. And to follow in his footsteps means the world to me.
John says he looks forward to being part of the rebirth of the Broadway Fillmore neighborhood.
But I'm starting to be a little bit of an oracle because I did the same thing on Myrtle. Everyone told me that was a terrible location. It shouldn't go there. Don't go there. And look what happened there. Larkinville kind of blew up around us there. So maybe lightning does strike twice.
January is Human Trafficking Prevention Month, a national observation to call attention to the crime. Locally, Project Mona's House kicked off the new Amplify series. The series presents the stories of human trafficking survivors and awareness advocates.
I created the Amplify series because I felt like there are more conversations about human trafficking that need to happen. However, I believe that those who have lived through it need to be at the forefront of these conversations. Far too often I hear so many people that maybe have worked with human trafficking victims, and while our perspective is indeed very vital, I think that we need to hear from those who lived through it and hear them tell us what is it that we should do to be helping individuals who are a part of the modern day enslavement.
Right now in New York State, prostitution is fully criminalized, and all sides of the debate when it comes to the issue of prostitution and human trafficking agree that criminalization is not an effective approach.
For instance, it's something right now that's going before the Senate called the equality model. There are individuals who want to legalize prostitution, fully decriminalize the sex trade, and there are individuals who are advocates, overcomer advocates, who are saying, no, we want partial decriminalization.
What the equality model tends or seeks to do is to fully decriminalize the person that is engaging in prostitution, i.e. the human trafficking victim, the one kidnapped, the one most vulnerable, but keep the current penalties that we have in the state in place for those who perpetuate it, i.e. sex buyers, pimps, traffickers, brothel owners, but recognizing that those that are engaged in prostitution usually need services and not jail time.
I want people to walk away from listening to this Amplified series. I want them to listen to the stories of overcomers and understand what is human trafficking, how can I spot it, how can I stop it and how can I join the fight. And I also want them to realize that there are actually pathways that lead to being a victim of human trafficking. It's not just the white van that people are so scared of, a myth that people say, oh my goodness, you got to watch out for this white van. But there are actually systems that are in place that make vulnerable populations more vulnerable, and there is actually something that we can do to make vulnerable populations less vulnerable. Buffalo does have an answer for human trafficking, and it is Project Bonus House. We are right now the only restoration home for women who've been victimized by human trafficking.
Well, they may not be going, but coming up next on Community, we'll tell you about one local business that's flying high and getting ready for their Super Bowl spotlight. Welcome back to Community. With a new year comes new things.
Certainly does. And at the Super Bowl this year, a local company is already in the game. It's called Canna House. The founder, Reggie Keefe, says they help educate and allow people to use cannabis in safe spaces, thus the club.
We're actually an activity-based event club. So that means we're doing puff and paints, we're doing cooking with cannabis, we do murder mysteries, kickball games. It's really a full gauntlet of activity-based events. So the goal is to, activate, your creativity through consumption.
Once again, it's all legal.
We are under the guise of a private club, and so the goal is to make sure we're as safe as possible to protect our members.
He'll tell you the atmosphere changes based on the location, but the vibe, it stays the same.
We produce and manufacture some of our in-house products, Dirty Lemonade, as well as Urban Jane's Secret Sauce. We actually do blue cheese and ranch as well.
And those lemonades are in different flavors. This is lemonade with cannabis in it.
This is THC-infused cannabis, absolutely. We've taken our time to really hone in on a safe recipe. We get our product tested.
And now Canna House is going to be part of Super Bowl weekend.
We have been pegged and hand-selected to be an exhibitor for the first ever 15-acre consumption park.
Just a few miles away from where the game will be played in Arizona.
We are bringing a super vibe. We call that a very intentional Black experience, right? Is that we're intentional about bringing that energy wherever we are, and we're excited to do that at the Super Bowl this year.
Product providers like Canna House see this as a huge step forward in the cannabis world that's growing.
We're an event-based club. We love to have a good time, but we're making sure that people understand, where these things are sourced from, how to source things properly, how to even determine what is a good and bad product.
Even Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes is excited.
Although I'm not a consumer, I am going to go to that party because I want to see. I want to see how it's done. I want to see the NFL progress.
You do also understand that this is not for everybody, right?
Absolutely, and our goal is to really educate the community, because we do understand that, everybody doesn't consume, but you might touch somebody that consumes. And it's important that you understand that person's journey, and that you don't think they're just some consumer that is abusing the plant. It's good that you understand exactly what the plant is doing for that person. And just to be an educated constituent, right? There are things that are gonna come around, people are gonna be building stuff around you, there's gonna be operations happening around you, and it's just good to be informed. And I think there's a divine right for us to bring this plant to the masses in a way that is not just palatable, but equitable.
You can't end the month of January and not reflect on moving forward and paying it forward. The Communities of Giving Legacy honored community champions, including young people. They know the King dream, and those who have come before them want to help youth of color be the source of positive change. I had a chance to see them at the Pay It Forward Awards.
Maybe I could really use what Martin King did and to start locally, just a little smaller. Just start low and then just reach up to the top.
The highlights is acknowledging trailblazing youth of color.
I feel really honored, and I'm just really happy that I was chosen and able to be a part of this big trip, this big opportunity, this big celebration. I know it means a lot to everybody, and I'm just really grateful, and I cherished every moment. Even right now, I'm cherishing it. I've made such a big family through this, and I just love it. And just to be able to be a part of Impact and see everything that's happening, it just means so much to me.
Some students feel like I'm here and there's no place to go, and they're doing things that's really under the radar. So we want to pull those students out, and my thing is you can be anything that you want to be if you stay to it and work hard. And they do. They're blossoming later, So you think the students need to do it now. There's plenty of time for them to do it, but opening their eyes to possibilities.
I am very into being a council member, or even just holding a position in a community center, just a way that I could help people and impact people. That's really, this whole experience has really guided me towards that journey, just to help and be a part of something big.
You don't have to just settle for one thing. Back in the old days, if you're a minority, you were a teacher or you were a nurse. You don't have to do any of those things. You can shoot for the stars, and you may even hit one.
At a young age, I always wanted to help someone, and physically and mentally. So I was thinking of doing cancer research and helping everybody in that way.
When you're giving your tax deduction gift, we would appreciate it, and this is what we will do to keep students moving forward and empower them to be the best they can be.
Everybody has a different perspective, a different way of handling situations, and I feel like that's why this world is just so unique and so diverse, because everybody's so different, and when so many things come together, like big, great things happen.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead.
A fighter for justice. But it's 2023. What does he mean to you? What would he want you to do? What change is needed?
Before there is huge transformational change, there's a lot of pain. So maybe we are on the brink of making the kinds of systemic changes that he fought for. Because when you, again, look at our younger generations and their values and their beliefs, they see a place that is more connected, where human beings are just respected for being human.
I think Dr. King would continue to call people to action. His work is unfinished. We've got work to do. There's too much discrimination in this world.
For people in power?
He's been a great leader if he hadn't been a great listener. And so I think that we need to listen more to young people and not try to assume what their positions are based on the behavior of a few.
I have a dream.
The dream.
It should resonate with young people, and I actually think it does resonate with young people. But they flow a different way than we did when we were at their age.
I think Dr. King would come and say there's more work to be done. That the dream has not been fulfilled in this community. We know about it. We see it in Erie County government. We see the issues that go around with health equity.
And while the nation observes, reflect on this, a new sculpture in Boston called Embrace.
Sometimes we are afraid to embrace, but for Dad and Mom to show us what embracing is, to have a manifestation of what they consistently did.
I think he has more meaning this year to us in our community than in any of the previous years after what we have been through since 5/14. It's just his words are so inspirational.
I'm sure that many people in the white community have now resigned themselves to the fact that the Negro movement is an unstoppable movement, that our aims and our aspirations are right and just.
Unstoppable. That was the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was more than I have a dream. Buffalo's African-American Heritage Corridor is progressing, including this church along the Underground Railroad.
He would say, listen, we are stepping into a dream that's alive. When everybody thought it was dead, the church was going down, and he said, we are resilient people with resilient strategies, resilient vision to rise up from the ashes.
I think he would be very pleased today to see multiple people here in this church of solid ground on Michigan Avenue Baptist Church, right? And not only that, to see multiple shades of people.
I think maybe the first words that would come out of Dr. King's mouth when he entered the sanctuary would be, my God, look at what our people have done.
Governor Kathy Hochul says living the legacy of Dr. King is about justice.
It's not just to get together and high five and say Happy King Day, make us feel good and then move on with our lives. How do you live?
Ask yourself, how do you live?
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a dream that has so far not been realized, but a legacy that lives on today.
It was so nice to hear from different people talking about the dream, what it means, has it been realized yet, and what is needed to make sure that it is realized one day. Yeah. If not by us, maybe by our children or their children, but somehow, some way, the dream will be fulfilled.
It's going to take a community.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us for this month's edition of commUNITY. We'll be back next month to observe Black History Month.